What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 2 for 2, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voices of the culture. I'm your host, Keith, and I'm here as always with my brother, Nell. We are back on the pod today. Nell is sporting some new gear. Show the people what you got.
Come on, man. That 2-3 is in. That 2-3 is in, boy. Ooh. Ooh, we is getting real and real about the day. Schedule's out, too.
All I know is that the amount of money that Nell has put into Philadelphia Sixers paraphernalia or memorabilia, whatever you want to call it, the 2 for 2 page we could have got some new cameras, man. That's all I got. But it's all right. We pricing them out of the garden, though. We pricing them out of the garden. Nell, how you doing, dog? It's good to see you, man. Glad to see you happy. It's awesome seeing Nell happy, man. And also, my guy is a few weeks away from 30 also, man. So big Nell.
I know y'all. For everybody out there, y'all couldn't tell, but yeah, brother.
I genuinely didn't know that you were turning 30 before me. I didn't know you were older than me. I really didn't. So
yeah, I'm getting up there.
Shout out to Don Neleon, man. So I mean, he said it right. The NBA schedule's out.
The 96 babies.
Right, 96 babies is up. 96 babies is up. You see now, Sixered out. Birthday coming up. He about to get the cut in the next week. I know. He'll probably wait till birthday week to really pop the cut. I haven't had a cut in like a month, so you're gonna see this hat until my barber has not returned from his sabbatical that he took.
Barber shouldn't be allowed to go on sabbaticals.
Bro stopped cutting hair 2 weeks before Temp's wedding, which was in April.
That's crazy.
So just know my actual barber has not cut my hair since March. And has not returned since March. Has not cut a single person's head, as far as I know. But we on the pod today, folks. Got another great episode for you guys, man. We're going to talk some NBA. We're going to talk the NFL, of course. And we're going to start off. The NBA schedule has been released. None other. We already talked about this. You know what's happening opening night. Knicks Sixers. You know what's happening to start the NBA Cup. Knicks Sixers. But you'll hear plenty of that. You'll get plenty Knicks Sixers banter, folks. Now, looking at the NBA schedule, man, what are your thoughts, early reactions? I know we got some, I was looking earlier, some big return games, right? That the NBA schedule makers are very, I don't want to say the words petty, but they get real juicy with the storylines, right? You get some fun stuff. Obviously, like I just said, Knicks Sixers starting off. You got LeBron going back to LA for Christmas, right? Spurs Knicks finals rematch over Christmas. But talk to me now about the NBA schedule. How you feeling about your team's schedule and the upcoming season?
Man, I'm excited. Obviously, I'm just beyond excited to start the year with LeBron and Jaylen Brown and the whole crew. See how it's going to be must-see TV every game. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, opening day, that should be great. Kind of crazy having a 3:00 game, Boston and Detroit. So that should be interesting.
Adam trying to get the European influence, he said. He wants to make these showcase games. I'm like, you got the preseason to have showcase games overseas, but he said 3:00 is prime Europe time for them to watch the games as well. So
interesting.
A little weird to me that the Knicks win the championship and aren't the first game of the season like every other champion has been for the last, since the NBA's been around.
That tells you how we feel about New York championship. But anyway, obviously then, opening the night when the real games start, Sixers, Knicks, OKC, San Antonio, that should be two fantastic games. Well, one fantastic game, other one's going to be built to ass on ring night, going in there spoiling the Knicks ring night. That should be awesome.
I want y'all to know this man said they were going to beat us by 25 on ring night.
We setting the tone. We letting motherfuckers know that we not here to play around. It's championship for bus, and we gonna act like it.
LeBron 2 for 12. VJ leading score.
Who's hating now?
I'm just you.
That, and we still gonna win by 25. Ain't that something?
All I gotta say is who guarding 11.
To beat the defending champs by 25 and still have a lot that we can grow and work on. That'll be a great opening night. I'm a little
Y'all
upset
could beat us
that our
every
first
game and it wouldn't matter to me.
We will beat y'all every game. Well, I already told you it'll be 3-1, but it could be 4-0. Um, but Sixers Celtics, first game in Boston, January 21st. I kind of wish we do play them in Philly. I think in early October or November. Um, so I kind of wish the first Sixers Celtics matchup was in Boston. But obviously, all those games I'll be looking forward to. Jaylen Brown and Tatum, seeing what that seeing what that matchup is going to be like. Obviously, Christmas Day is absolutely loaded. Like I
Oh
already
yeah,
told you, I don't
great
need any
slate.
presents. Just give me peace and freedom from 12 o'clock to 1 a.m. and we're good on Christmas. Making us travel to LA for Christmas is kind of crazy. I
Bro, I
think
want to be home, bro.
Jaylen Brown returning to Boston on Christmas Day would have been lovely, but I guess they didn't want that much hate on Christmas Day. Um,
Yeah, they said that game in Boston is National Hugging Day or something. It was some stupid
that's
day. You know,
crazy.
spread love on that day.
It won't be a lot of hugging between Jaylen Brown
Joe
and
Mazzulla and
some
Jaylen Brown might
teammates.
headbutt each other out that jump.
But it should be a really exciting year. There, like you said, there's a bunch of, you know, new faces and new places. So automatically we're gonna have a bunch of, return games and revenge games. So, Trey Young in Atlanta. Um, who else we got? Obviously Jaylen Brown in
Giannis,
Boston,
Giannis going
LeBron
back
in
to Milwaukee.
LA, Giannis in Milwaukee, Ja in Memphis.
Hmm.
So tons of matchups. That even Dame going back to Milwaukee. Assuming
Hmm.
he's healthy and ready to go this year. The way he kind of left there, not on great terms and circumstances. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it this year. Seems like there's going to be a pretty good matchup, damn near every night. Obviously, looking forward to seeing the rookies, DeBonta and Peterson go up against one another. Boozer, seeing how
Hmm.
the rookie class coming in, Boozer versus Caleb Wilson. It was a fun matchup in the summer league. Looking forward to seeing it in the NBA again. So yeah, I'm just super excited for this season. To have so many storylines, so many really good teams going into it. Harry's Halliburton coming back, seeing what the Pacers are going to do this
Hmm.
year. Will Kawhi be a Raptor? Will he be a Clipper? Will he be banned from the
He
league?
is so unfazed
We
by this
will
stuff.
we will
It's
see.
hilarious. It's
He's got
hilarious.
new ads coming out. So I mean, yeah, clearly he is
He
not
running it
thinking too
up.
much about all the allegations and investigations going on into him and his contract. So it should be a fantastic year. I mean, Sixers are, have a chance to break the Warriors record for wins in a
Stop.
season. Uh,
Stop. You gotta you can't
I
throw
just wanted
that
to
in there.
sneak
You need
that
to
in there. I was
nah,
just gonna sneak that in there and keep it
let's
pushing.
elaborate on that. Tell the people that don't know what that record is. We got some
Seven,
casuals.
73-9. Um, I mean,
I
I'm just
want
gonna
y'all
say
to
what it
know
is. I'm just come out and say it. Like we have a chance to win 75 games. I'm just gonna say it. We have a chance to win 75 games. That sounds crazy,
that's
but it
not
was crazy to think the Warriors could win 73 until they did it. So
this
there
is
it is. I'm throwing
blasphemy
it
right
out
there.
there.
I want y'all to know this man has been on a high. Obviously, the NBA schedule makers are excited, right? You got what? 4 teams with the max. You can have a maximum
Yeah,
of
I didn't like
34
that. I didn't
nationally
like that. We
televised games.
definitely
They gave
should
it
have
to
had
four
about.
teams.
We should have had 41 games.
Nah, you got Knicks, Spurs, Sixers, Lakers all get 34 games nationally televised. Obviously, most of those will probably be against each other. They're gonna put Jalen Brunson walking down LeBron and Jalen Brown as many times as they possibly can. I mean,
Oh
you
gosh.
get Knicks Sixers twice in the first week of the season, right? Like, I mean, the NBA knows what's going on. They know they know what they're doing, right? They know what they're doing. I'm letting y'all know now. I'm letting you know now. You guys will not go 73-9. I told Nell that I don't even have their starters playing 70 games total together. If they get to 50, I'd be shocked. I'd
Okay.
be shocked.
Well,
I'd be
be
shocked.
prepared to be shocked.
I will be. I will be. I'll say this though. I was on TikTok yesterday and I was watching the Maxi. What show was he on recently? He was on somebody's podcast and he was talking about VJ and he was like, yeah, They did the same thing with me when we got James, and he was like, James and Embiid came up to me like, nah, you're not taking a back seat. It was actually pretty cool to see how he was talking about like VJ and how y'all will still need him to be involved and not just think this is his chance to just kind of move to the back of the bus. You know what I'm saying? That he still got some stuff to go. So I love it, man. I want you to know because Nell is a hater, y'all. Y'all were here all last season.
I've said no. The only hating has come from the New
You
York
can't
Knicks
hate on
side
my
of
team
things.
anymore. You can't hate on my team anymore
I
because we
haven't
won the
said
championship
anything.
now. You can't. That's my point. You can't. So what I'm telling you is I don't do this to you. I'm excited to see your team, but I want you for your sanity because you're a good friend of mine. And I've seen you through your highs. I've seen you through your lows. I remember you on here with a bag over your face.
That was for the Cowboys.
And I don't want you to have to do that for the Sixers because what
I don't think I will.
the Cowboys typically get you excited so much so that now you don't even care, right? This is probably the best offseason y'all have had and you do not care. And it's not just because of LeBron, but it's because you are numb, my brother. You are numb. And if y'all don't do what you are hoping, Nell, I am fearful as your friend that you will not recover.
Fine. I will lower my expectations. We will fall. We will not break the Golden State Warriors record.
There you
Unfortunately, we'll fall short and only win 72 games. But
you're crazy.
look, man,
That's all. Hey,
it is what
man,
it is.
NBA season's gonna be fun, man. We talked about it. Like you said, Halliburton coming back, Dame, Trey, LaMelo going back to Charlotte a little bit later. The
Yep,
the
that
Timberwolves
shit
have been
good.
doing some fun stuff. Everybody, y'all need to get y'all's TV subscriptions now. Get your TV subscriptions now. You know it'll be on Prime. You know you're gonna watch the NBA on Peacock. You know there will be ESPN. What else they doing now? I think that's just it. Is that the big three?
NBC.
They still do. Yeah, that's Peacock.
Not
NBC, Peacock,
yeah.
Prime. I literally saw a graphic, and of course now I can't find it, but it was talking about like the lineup of like what days they're gonna have every game on. Hey,
Too much.
get ready, folks. Y'all might be wondering why we talking about the NBA right now, but it's because the season never stops. I mean, October will be here before you know it. The preseason will be here before you
we
know
talk
it. Camp
Sixers
will be
every
here.
week, y'all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Nell wants to talk about them every
Whether
week.
you like it or not, I'm gonna sneak something in there.
And all I got for Nell now is
The
that's how we
corniest
look our
video
killer.
on the internet.
We look our ops in the eye and we smile because we are not worried. Not one peep has come out of the New York circle since y'all added LeBron. Y'all have that.
What they gonna say?
Y'all have that.
We know they scared.
He wanted to be a Knick. That's what they could say. We
There's
just
no
messed
proof
up
of
the
that.
plan. We messed up the plan. Rich Paul is on camera.
Rich Paul says a lot of things, yo. Unless I hear it from LeBron James, bro, I'm not worried about y'all.
That's all right, man. You won't. Good news for you. You won't hear it. But yeah, folks, man, we could really deep dive into the NBA schedule, but it's not that time yet. We'll get there, and we'll really. I think one day this year we should really let's go through y'all's schedule before the season starts, and let's really name these 9 losses out.
Win. I told you I
Nell
saw a
got on here.
couple 15-game win
I was
streak
just about to
stretches in
say
there.
before we got on here, he talking about I see multiple 10 game stretches where we winning. It's okay. I'm gonna tell y'all this now. This is my last part on the NBA schedule and the NBA before we go to the last part about the NBA. The Knicks are not worried because this is the year when OG Anunoby becomes Kawhi Leonard. The
We've only
finals
heard that for the last 5 years.
and it's getting a lot closer as we go. It's getting a lot closer as we go. I mean, the finals. If that didn't tell you what's to come, I mean, Jesus me. It's gonna get nasty.
When the other team plays 4 guards, I mean, yeah, I assume this 6,
he didn't do
8,
anything. He didn't do anything in any of the other series either, right? Right. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna move on.
We're not talking about the Knicks here.
We're not.
Sorry, they're not the story of the offseason. It's the Sixers.
Today is our 2-month championship anniversary.
No one cares, and no one cares.
I do,
but
and
you.
I'm glad. I'm me and every other Knicks fan. I'm just saying. I don't need to get on here with my Knicks gear no more because I won. You are trying to prove to yourself that your investment is worth your time.
You should be thinking one particular 76er that you even have an NBA schedule to look at right now.
which is who?
Because they was waiting on the face of the NBA to make his decision so they could do the
Nah,
schedule. That's what they was waiting on.
Facing NBA was doing this in the camera, looking at your guy.
No shot in hell that dude is the face. That is the face of the NBA.
Ant said it. If his peers are saying it, then it's real.
One player saying it means nothing.
If you're banking on Bron at this phase of his career being your savior,
I'm banking on
that's
most jersey sales in 48 hours. I'm banking on
that's
we
called
not
desperation.
even making this. We not even making the schedule until you make a decision.
If Philadelphia had a hurricane,
Brunson was a free agent and he was taking forever to make a decision, that schedule's coming out. We don't care.
But the thing is,
that ain't moving the needle for us.
This is the difference. He'll never not be a Knick. He'll be a Knick for the rest of his life. Okay? And you'll see 34 national televised games of New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson until he decides.
You got 2 years left for that before y'all go back to 16 a year.
By then, I'll be a father, and I'll have new priorities at that point in my life.
Because you won't enjoy those years.
Listen,
ain't gonna be much to talk about.
Listen, let's stop hating and let's show some love. To wrap up the NBA segment, Russell Westbrook, one of the great point guards of our generation, retired from the NBA. Just supposed yesterday, we saw some very heartfelt messages from KD dropped today. You had a really good message for him. LeBron, not reading the room properly, decides to comment on the page. We don't want to see you talk to him, Bron. Talking about Bron.
He can still show some respect to an all-time
that's
great.
Real. That's real. Absolutely. Me and you, I don't want to say we talked about it, but we shared a couple messages about just the state of the NBA and some of our greats, man. Like, we're really seeing some of the great players of our time ending their careers, right? You know, we're getting to the end of LeBron's career. We're getting to the end of the Kevin Durant's, the Steph Curry's, Chris Paul's done, Russ is done. Like, before I ask where you rank Russ all time in the guard conversation, do you think that the NBA is doing a good enough job, or do you even think it is the NBA's job to usher out the ending of our like legends' careers, right? Because it just seems like we saw, like, Carmelo Anthony's one of my favorite players of all time. And to see how his NBA career pretty much was just hop team to team to team to team to team until it's like, all right, we good. You know what I'm saying? And then that's just it. Is it the NBA's job to do a better job? Or like, how do you feel about that first?
It's tough because, I mean, look, we were blessed enough to enjoy the entire last year of Kobe's farewell tour.
We were.
To reap the benefits of that. Him coming out in Philly before a game and then announcing that this would be his last year and kind of giving the NBA world a chance to give him his flowers and to set things up. And I think that's the tough part about it. You know, the Chris Paul thing was extremely unfortunate, not something you want to see from to an all-time great. But for most of these players, Father Time, we never know when Father Time is going to hit us. We never know when, you know, in a situation of you know, like Melo and Russ, I don't think these guys were necessarily done playing or thought they would be done playing. So it's hard for the NBA to, you know, kind of set up that farewellish tour. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember if it was Dr. J or Larry Bird. They kind of had a tour their last year too. It's rare that we see it because we don't know. A lot of these players don't know when they're going to retire. We don't know when they don't know when they're going to feel it themselves, or they're not sure when the NBA is going to retire them. Because in the case of Russell Westbrook, this is pretty much the NBA telling him the league has passed you. It's your time. And then, you know, we don't want to see the situations where we have the Shaqs in Boston, Patrick Ewing in Orlando,
go out on your own time.
Hakeem in Toronto. You know, we frown upon those, but, you know, not everyone can be Kobe Bryant, you know, Dr. J, Magic, and kind of get the flowers, Jordan, and, you know, kind of get those flowers on the way out that they deserve. So, A lot of that just comes down with timing. If you're blessed enough to know it's your last year and you can announce that and NBA can start setting things up, promotion, marketing, advertising, giving cities a chance to, kind of do something special. It would be great to see for every great. It's just, unfortunate because, you just don't know when your time is coming. In the case of CP3, we did know that that was going to be his last year and it kind of ended the way it did. Very unfortunate. Um, Definitely put a lot of blame on the Clippers organization for the way that went. But in the case of Russ, I think if another team had given him a chance to play this year, he for sure was
Well,
gonna
they
go out
said
there and
they
play.
said the Kings. I think it was the Kings and somebody had like reached out. But I mean, obviously, like you get to that point of your career, you playing for the Kings, you just wasting.
And
You know
he
what I'm
wasn't
saying?
he wasn't terrible. I think he averaged like 15, 5, and 7, something like that. 5 and 5 is last last season with the Kings as well. So he still had a little bit of something left in him, but obviously we know the analytics around Russ, his game style.
Yeah,
It's what made him one of, the best point guards of all time. And it's, also been a detriment to, him at times, in his career. But, all in all, just an outstanding career, Hall of Fame career from Russ. One of the most electrifying players, not just point guards, but players of all time. So, definitely big congrats to him and, look forward to seeing, what he does outside of basketball. Always been, you hear about, well, you see how tenacious and aggressive he is on the court, but, off the court, you've always heard nothing but great things about him, always done things in the community, great guy. So, um, great player, better person. Like Russ once said, he's a winner at life. So,
yeah.
nothing but props and flowers to one of the best to do it.
Hey man, 18 seasons, NBA MVP, 9-time All NBA, 9-time All Star, 3-time assist champ, 2-time scoring champ, top 5 in assists, top 15 in points, top 15 in steals, most triple doubles in NBA history, most triple doubles in a season in NBA history, most consecutive games with a triple double, most seasons averaging a triple double, most points per game, and most assists per game while averaging a triple double.
Oof,
Russell Westbrook. Where do you rank him, man,
different.
amongst all-time guards? And a lot of people are really disrespectful about this conversation, but numbers do not lie. And what I just read, this is the man that brought back the triple-double. You got the people calling him a stat padder, and like you say, he was a very tenacious, furious, aggressive player on the court. But I mean, even Kevin Durant said it in his little excerpt to him. Is like a lot of people see that, but they don't realize that's just your playground to be free, right? That's your playground to be yourself and to have fun. And outside of that, Russ is a pretty quiet to himself, chill guy. I'd say he's top 5 guards of all time. I don't think you can put him out of that list. There are other people on that list without championships. There are other people on that list that don't have nearly the statistics. I mean, as an all-time point guard, first in points, first in boards, first in triple doubles, fourth in assists. That's just point guards. This is also the same guy. Averaged a triple double and took the Wizards to the playoffs. This is the same guy that when he won MVP, 31.6, that's the highest amount of points averaged per game while averaging triple double. Almost 11 boards and 10.4 assists per game in that season. Come on.
Made the triple double
Made it
look
cool
easy.
again. Made it
Made it
made it
easy.
made it to where people stat padding that triple double now.
Made it to the point where we say triple
It
double
don't
ain't
even
even that
matter no
special no
more.
more.
Right. It ain't even that cool. It became so easy for him that people diminished it. And that to me speaks volumes. Because if it was that easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to rank these guards. There's just so many. Um, but I mean, if I'm just going off of guards that I have personally watched, I'll leave the '90s and '80s and all the old heads in the past, he's certainly in that top five. Um, I think all time overall, he's certainly in the top 10. Don't know exactly where I would place him in that top 10, but like I said, the only guys in his era, you can really say were better than him was Steph Curry.
Steph.
I mean that I mean that's really it. I'm not taking Yeah, it's tough.
You taking John Stockton over him?
No, I don't think so.
So you got what? Magic,
That's hard. It's a
Steph.
different era. Yeah, Magic, Steph. Gosh. I mean, look at the numbers. You look at his career. I mean, it's like the thing where we talk about LeBron. It's like he undoubtedly had the greatest career ever, but it's like
Isaiah Thomas.
I hate to like judge the old heads because I really didn't watch them, so I don't know. It's like if you just do the stat by stat comparison, it's like a no brainer. It's Russ on pretty much any guard in league history. But I mean, you got to take into account like some of the playoff failures. Obviously, after Kevin Durant left, he didn't play on many great teams. Even when he won that MVP, he carried that team to a playoff spot. Um, got traded to
2020
Houston.
20.
That didn't work out.
That
You
was a
had
nasty game.
The Paul George. You had the Paul George and Melo year that flamed out in the first round against Donovan Mitchell, who was a rookie. For everything that we love about Russ, efficiency was never on his side. You know, late game decision making was often questioned. Doesn't take away from his greatness. This was a guy that gave 100% effort, whether it was game 1 or game 82 or, game 49 in Charlotte on a random Wednesday. He gave it his all every single time he stepped on that court. Maximum effort, went to the finals, with KD and Harden. Uh, but yeah, outside of that, it's tough just because of the success that he didn't have in the postseason. So I mean, I do factor that in just a little bit, but the numbers, the talent, the effort, the athleticism, all that's just undeniable. So um, it's hard for me to necessarily exactly where I would rank him, but he's definitely in that top 5 point guards that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough, man. I mean, he embodies everything that you would want, from in terms of that tenacity, the energy. You said it. Like a lot of people in the NBA, game 42 in Charlotte didn't matter to them, right? Or didn't. And it did matter to Russ. Obviously, you hit on all the points. Not getting the big one, right? Fizzling out. Sometimes just a lot of people knock him for the energy that he brought on the floor, in the moments where you just see him looking furious and going off. But I mean, talk about a top 5 athlete in the NBA of all time, right? Let's talk about that. I mean, he changed the point guard position. I mean, he really did. He brought that onus back onto, guys think about Oscar Robertson in the triple double, right? Now you got Russ, and that's become, that was his thing. And so even on the way out, I mean, he couldn't shoot the ball much. He couldn't shoot it that well. A lot of people said his fingers was broke from all the dunking that he used to do back in the day, and it could be. I mean,
Ferocious dunks.
the way you used to see Russ attacking the rim with people in front of him with that full head of speed, oh my God, like. Just get out of the way. Just get out of the way. So, nonetheless, right? Like, comparison to me is the thief of joy. I'm not a big rankings guy myself. One of the all-time greats. Top 75 in the NBA when they did that a couple years back. I mean, he solidified his step. So, farewell, brother Russ. We really appreciate you. What you did for the NBA. I mean, shoot, we grew up with you. So one of our greats, man. One of our greats. So. We look forward to seeing what happens next, and it's just sad to see, man. It's about to be that time for us, man. We
Tip
got
my
a lot of
cap to him.
greats. You still can't see the cut. You see that? Still see that? Okay, say what? Say less, man. But moving on to the NFL, man. We got gonna look at some division winners, and we got a couple little things to look at before we get there, man. And we got to start with the most polarizing, right? Now, it wouldn't be right if we didn't talk about them. The Philadelphia Eagles, man. We talked about it a little bit last time in terms of like Jalen Hurts and the pressure, right? But what are some realistic expectations for the Eagles coming into this season? They don't got AJ Brown anymore, but you return Saquon, you return Jalen Hurts, you return Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Devontae Smith, Zach Bond. Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah, all them dudes. You got everybody else. And it seemed like AJ was the dead weight. So how you feeling about expectations for the Eagles, man?
Uh, to me, they should be. Obviously, we talked last week about Jalen Hurts having a ton of pressure on him this year, and looking to kind of quiet the naysayers and the doubters. But they should be. I have them like just a tier below Seattle and Los Angeles Rams. I would slot them right there as possibly third in the NFC, maybe fourth. But they should have Super Bowl. I mean, if people are crazy enough to put Super Bowl expectations on the Dallas Cowboys, um, they should be even higher for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that's won the division the past couple of years. Obviously, went to a Super Bowl. Not last year, but the year before. I mean, the team hasn't changed much outside of AJ Brown, excuse me. And like you said, that was seemed to be an issue in the locker room and on the field last year. Offensive coordinator was an issue in play calling. Now you bring in a new offensive coordinator, and as far as things have been set in camp. Bringing in a
They
lot of
loving
motion, a lot of
Dontavian Wicks.
different looks. You bring in Wicks, Hollywood Brown, you draft Mekhi Lemon. Devontae Smith is now your number one. Um, I don't necessarily think, he's going to come in and replace AJ Brown's production year one, but as far as an overall group, it's a solid group with some depth, and you're not necessarily always having to look over your shoulder, having to get him targets. Devontae Smith has never been one to come out to the media after a game of getting two or three targets and necessarily stir up some drama for Philly media to run with for an entire week after a loss. So that part of it won't be a factor this year. The defense is still going to be elite. You got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean coming off all pro years. You add Reek Woolen. You still got
Yeah.
Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the middle of that defense. Zach Bond, like you said, got Jaha Campbell in year two. So still a ton of talent on that defense. Offensively, like you said, still with Saquon, and like we talked about the receiving core, I think Devontae Smith is a shoo-in to have a career year and yards and catches and produce as the number one receiver on that team. But it all comes down to the trenches, and that's been the recipe for a Super Bowl for both of the Eagles Super Bowls. They weren't particularly good in the run last year. Kind of in the bottom half of the league against the run. So, and obviously offensive line was an issue last year. Didn't run the ball as well with Saquon. So I think if they fix those two things, they're right there. Like I said, right a tier right below Seattle and Los Angeles for me. They can figure that out. They can fix their run defense, and they get back to Saquon's having a great year. The offensive line is healthy and playing well, and they're running the football. Secondary is as good as anyone in the leagues. Like I said, you got those two dogs in the middle of your defense, and Davis and Carter. Jalen Hurts, I expect him to have somewhat of a bounce back here. We'll see if he didn't use his legs much last year. We'll see if that kind of comes into play this year, using his legs more. That's really where he's, most dangerous. So if they figure that out, I could see them going 12-5. I can see them winning. They have a pretty easy schedule this year. I can see them winning 12 or 13 games, winning a division. And, like I said, there's only really two teams that I kind of see that are head and shoulders above them. I think they're in the same tier as, if you want to include the Packers and Bears and Lions and who else is, nobody in the South is good.
You just wanted to say
So
that.
I mean, yeah. So Like those are top teams in NFC, and I mean they're right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm not gonna knock it. The good thing about a team that, like the Eagles, they're a Super Bowl team. They're a year removed from being in the Super Bowl, and we just named, they pretty much got their roster intact, right? And the recipe is there. The formula is there. I think the Eagles made their lives a little bit too hard sometimes last year, and obviously teams adjusted. But it's running the football. Get the ball to Saquon Barkley. Use Jalen Hurts in the run game. I know a lot of people were talking about how he kind of took a dip in that department last year. I think with a new OC, new motivation, I don't see why the Eagles can't be right back in the thick of things. I mean, I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even say that they're head and shoulders behind Seattle and LA for me. I mean, I think they're right there with them. They got enough talent. They got enough big names. They've done it before, and that means a lot to me, right? They having that experience, that means something. So, I mean, I think that they have a shot to really kind of come back and take the league by storm again. Reclaim the NFC, even if they do it right, right? If they do it right. If not, I get to say one of my favorite sayings: people getting fired. That's all I gotta say. They don't get it done because that's the hard part, right? Like a coach like Nick Sirianni,
But
where
what's getting it
he
done? Like if they lose an NFC championship, is somebody still getting fired?
depends on what it looked like up to that point. If you get to the NFC Championship and all signs are you the favorite,
But
and then
if, like I said, if they're going against Seattle or the Rams, are
so
they the
they don't
favorite
make
in
it.
any of those
If
matchups?
you don't make it to the NFC Championship, that's a losing season for you. Yes,
I also think it
because
depends on who you play. If you
I
lose to
mean it
Rams in a
comes.
divisional round by a field goal or by a
That's fine.
touchdown,
That's okay.
that's cool.
You lose to the Bucks in the divisional round,
People getting fired.
people getting fired. You lose to the Lions.
I like how you said divisional round, Bucks in the divisional round. That was funny. That was a good one.
Hey, I'm gonna speak on my Bucks eventually.
That's like me saying the Sixers going to win 80 games. My bad. I'm sorry.
So I just think there's no reason not to believe that this team can go back to the Super Bowl. Right? I think if Jalen Hurts is the guy that
I only
Eagles
have two
fans,
reasons:
what are the two?
Seattle, Los Angeles.
I just feel like they're. I don't know. I don't know if I have Seattle head and shoulders above them still.
I don't think they're head and shoulders. I think if we were to have a playoff matchup right now, I think I would lean towards Seattle.
And
Not
you
by
lean
much
towards
though.
LA. So
Yeah.
outside of that, so if all right, Seattle or LA loses, and let's say they play neither of them to go to the Super Bowl and they lose.
Oh yeah, they should. Then they should go all the way.
They make the wild card, don't win the division.
That's respectable. So they don't win the division. That means my squad is winning the division, and that's okay.
Not a fireable offense.
Nah,
I've seen people saying that Hurts ain't got too many more years left in Philly, man. That's all I seen. I didn't say it. And I don't agree with it.
I think he would have to completely fall flat on his face for something like that to happen. It's hard to find franchise QBs out here, and regardless of what people say, he is certainly one of them.
I agree. I agree. I'll take him. I'll take him. Speaking of Seattle, though, because I've been watching Hard Knocks. That's what I've been watching the Seattle Hard Knocks.
I've been wanting to watch Hard Knocks. You know, they talk
It's
about
not as
LeBron and Hard
entertaining.
Knocks too. Face of the NBA.
Actually, on the Hard Knocks, you know who they talked about?
I don't know. I didn't watch, but I did see a
I'm
LeBron clip.
gonna tell you.
Okay.
They talked about Wemby.
Okay.
They brought in Mitch Johnson, and he was talking, and Mike McDonald was like,
Well, that's the worst coach to bring in after what he just did.
that's what I said. I was like, okay, hold on. You just won a Super Bowl. You got a shot to bring in anybody. And you brought in Mitch. I mean, hey, relationships, Mitch is cool, but it was interesting. He was talking about Wemby and like, what's it like coaching a guy like that? And, does he ever put himself above like the team. He's like, no, not ever since we got them. Never, never. Um, can Seattle repeat? Like realistically, I feel like they're like they remind me of my Knicks, right? Like they won the Super Bowl and it was all hoorah, blah blah blah. Like the people that cared really really cared. I mean, everybody else just was
Like,
kind of like whatever. But I
well,
mean, you
it
have
was a
them.
whatever Super Bowl, so
I mean, shout out Drake May. But can they repeat? Like realistically, Sam Darnold, do you trust in him to get it done again? No
uh,
Kenneth
re-
Walker,
yeah, it
no
remains to be
Woolen.
seen, but they certainly have the talent, and now they have the championship pedigree to repeat. But we know it takes more than that to win a Super Bowl. Health is obviously a huge factor, and a lot of times it just comes down to luck. We spent the entire NFL season last year talking about how Sam Darnold can't get it done in the biggest games and the biggest moments. The Rams
That's
had his
right.
number, and then it flipped. All of a sudden,
Yeah,
he figured out the Rams like he figured out everything else in the postseason, and even in that NFC Championship game, it still came down to the final moments. If the Rams had just 40 more seconds left in the game, they'd probably go down there and score.
yeah,
Um, but now they come back fully loaded, revamped secondary. Obviously, now you add Myles Garrett, possibly adding Aaron Donald back to that lineup. So they're going to be, ready for revenge, and trying to avenge that feeling that the Seahawks left them with in the championship game last year. So to get back to the Super Bowl, it's going to be a tough road, but it can happen, but I don't think it will happen this season. If I had to take a guess, I would take the field in the NFC. Um, it's going to be a different kind of pressure on Sam Darnold this year. Still think they're going to have a really good regular season, and certainly be a team that you have to contend with in the postseason if you want to get to the Super Bowl. Like you said, losing Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP, if I'm not mistaken.
mm-hmm.
Um, Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator. Lost Kobe Bryant, Reek Woolen. Most of that defense is still intact, but like I said, I think the biggest one would be interesting to see. How they react to losing Clint Kubiak. We've seen
Yeah,
tons of teams, Eagles, Lions. We've seen how some of these teams come back after losing an offensive coordinator, and sometimes it's an adjustment. It takes a
yeah,
while to adjust to a new system, a new coach, and things are different. You got new teams, new seasons. They're going to be the hunted now. They're going to get everyone's A+ game every week. So it's different. And like you said, health and luck plays a huge factor into going on a Super Bowl run. So I don't
yeah,
necessarily think it'll happen again this year. It's hard to envision Sam Darnold being a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. Even harder than it was to envision him, leading the charge on a Super Bowl team in the first place. But they'll be right there as one of the best teams in the NFL this year. But like I said, I would be surprised if the Rams didn't come out this year.
yeah. I mean, I think Seattle can do it, but it's hard, man. The field, I think the NFL just a lot of teams have gotten a lot better. I mean, I think the depth in the league is a little bit better. It's not as top heavy. I think Seattle, when a team wins a championship, we always talk about how they become you know, the idea of what it is, what it takes. And I think that the main thing, and there's something else I got just from watching their hard knocks so far, is like their whole thing is about finding that competitive edge, finding that competitive advantage. And Mike McDonald believes that it's the fact that they're just a really good team in the sense of we like each other. We play for each other. No one person is bigger than the next, right? I mean, the biggest name they got right now is probably Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I mean, he just goes out there and plays football, right? Sam Darnold, Super Bowl MVP quarterback. You don't see him on a bunch of commercials and TV shows doing press runs. Them guys just go play football. And I think that's a real, I mean, that is an advantage, right? We see teams where we talk about like with Philly where you got egos in the building and that just circulates week after week after week, right? You got teams coming off injuries. You think about the Chiefs, Pat Mahomes. When is he going to be able to play? What's that going to look like? Rashee Rice, right? Like all these swirling things that surround these teams, and the Seahawks are just like, hey, look, we cool just being that little team out in Seattle that y'all ain't worrying about. We just gonna play good football. So I think I say that to say that, I think more teams are just worrying about just getting better and just putting good players out there. And it's gonna be tough, but I definitely think they still have enough. I don't know, man. It's hard not to say just give it to LA, especially considering that the Aaron Donald, rejoining the team is pretty imminent at this point. Like it, just go ahead and say it, dude. We know, like we know. You ain't no human is putting themselves through the grueling training that you have to do to be prepared for an NFL season just to get to the tip of the iceberg and be like, nah, like stop it,
From what we
stop it.
hear about him, he's such a psycho working out. He probably just does that regularly.
Nah, man, it's a little bit different. You taking pain, inflicting pain, you putting them pads on every day out in that sweltering heat. That's a different beast. But let's look out to another team. The Cleveland Browns, man, new coach. Their former franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson, at least in terms of how that contract looks, is back, right? He's back this year. Shador is there. No real talks about Dylan Gabriel or anybody else. So this is a two-man race, essentially, right? You got Shador, you got Deshaun. So far, for all intents and purposes, reports out of camp, neither of them have really taken the bull by the horns. I think preseason this week, Cleveland's going to start Deshaun. Then they're going to go on to Shador to start the next week. Who do you think should be the Browns starting quarterback?
Anybody but Deshaun Watson. Um, the Deshaun Watson that we saw in 2020 is dead and gone.
Gone. Oh my Lord.
33 and 7. He like that is. We don't know who that man is. We'll never see that person again. He was probably kidnapped, tortured, and
he got married. That's what it was. He married that woman. Beautiful woman. But that'll change him.
He was doing something else too.
He was.
Took that away from him. He's since he's been a Cleveland Brown, he's played a grand total of 19 games. In those games, he's thrown for 3,365 yards. That's an average of 177 yards per game. He's thrown 19 touchdowns to 12 interceptions in that span. Also has an average QB rating of 80.8 and a QBR of 35 over the 3 years.
Damn.
It's over. Okay? It's over. And not to mention the countless injuries and toll that those injuries have taken on his body. The Browns, they traded their best player to the Rams. Like they have no reason to be playing Deshaun Watson at all. They owe it to the fans, and to the franchise and to the team to try to find out what they have in the younger QBs, mainly Shador Sanders and even Dylan Gabriel. You got to find out what you have so you can assess how to move forward with building this team out. I know they got tons of draft capital. Drafted a couple receivers in early rounds.
They sound good so far.
They got some guys. So you got to figure out Deshaun Watson is not a long-term solution. He's not even a short-term solution. So you've invested draft picks in these young quarterbacks. You're gonna have some draft picks coming up. They're probably gonna be early draft picks. So you got to figure out what you have because you don't want to go into the draft with a chance to draft a young quarterback just to end up in the same situation again where you're having training camp competition. So, figure out what you have in Shador or Dylan Gabriel. If you feel as though you want to move forward with them, then you know how to build and go forward. And if you got to get a new quarterback, then instead of just being like, all right, well, Deshaun Watson had another terrible year as expected. Are we finally going to give Shador a chance, or are we going to try to get another quarterback? So, just go with the young guy. You're not winning any games this year, no matter who the starting quarterback is. So you might as well figure out what you have in Shador.
Yeah, that last piece is what I was really thinking about. Is, with Deshaun Watson, realistically, like, what is success, right? What does success look like? What does he deserves us to bring him back look like, right? And regardless of what it is, it ain't happening, right? Like, they're not making the playoffs. They're probably not going to win very many games. They're going to most likely be the punching bag of that division yet again. You got young talent. Just let all the young talent play. Like, let the young quarterback throw to the young receivers. Deshaun, you just be a great back up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I want to see the guy play. I mean, the human in me, you know, the fall from grace sucked, right? It's hard to say. Like, this was a guy that at one point they called him Michael Jordan on the John that Dabo Sweeney said that, not me. But you know, he had some magic to him, right? It was amazing, great college career. Had Houston turned up. I mean, he earned the money that he got, I guess. But we almost 6 years removed from that, man. And you ain't played. What's that? You said 19 games in 3 years. What's that? An average of like 6 games a year, 6.5 games a
Literally
year. Like,
six,
that's not gonna
six, and
cut it.
seven.
Yeah, like come on, you play 6 games a year, bro. That's not gonna cut it. I mean, you let him play the preseason out, but I think this is one of those battles where if we get to the week before the season and we aren't sold on him, play the other guy. Just play the other guy. And if Shador goes out there, stinks it up, play the other guy. And if he goes out there and stinks it up, well, we suck. Deshaun, see if you can play your way into a contract elsewhere, because we just gonna blow this whole thing up regardless. So don't think. I mean, it sucks for Todd Monken. You know, you get a head coaching job and it's in Cleveland. I mean, obviously you applied for it, you took the job, but you said it. Next year's draft is going to be full of quarterbacks, full. And if you're drafting at the top of that, and you over here questioning if it's Shador or if it's Deshaun or if it's Dylan, you're in a bad spot. You're in a bad spot. So just make sure you know exactly what you are by the end of this year. That should be the main goal. To wrap this thing up, man, we got about 9 minutes until we hit an hour. We try not to keep y'all in here too long. No more people, man. No, cue the graphic, brother. Or you wanna just talk about it and then cue the graphic. What you thinking?
We can pull it up. We can segue into it.
Well, let's segue
Time
into it,
for
man. We're gonna
time
look at
for our
some
division
divisional
winners.
winners, folks. Nell and I have picked our division winners. We did it off air. Nell made a beautiful graphic. Only took him about 20, 30 minutes. Elite, we don't use AI over here. Nell just does it himself. Come on, we don't need AI. We got Nell. All right. So you see it up here, folks. We got it broken down by division. We got the AFC and NFC North, AFC and NFC South, AFC and NFC East, and the AFC and NFC West. And we went 2 for 2 on 3 of these. Oh, wait,
Good
just
amount.
two, just two, just two, just two. Looking at the NFC North, man, I got Ravens coming out, or AFC North. I got the Ravens coming out of the AFC North this year. I got the Bears coming out of the NFC North. Nell has the Ravens coming out of the AFC North, and then Detroit coming out of the NFC North. Now, tell me why Detroit.
I just got a sneaky feeling that another year removed from Ben Johnson as offensive coordinator. Like I said, losing offensive coordinator sometimes throws a wrinkle on your team. Takes a while to get used to new system, new play calling. Um, Dealt with a couple injuries last year. Obviously, Bears and Packers kind of took off. I just feel like the Lions will have a bounce back year. I think Jahmyr Gibbs getting his money. I think he's going to have a incredible breakout year. Um, I think they'll be relatively healthy. Looking at their schedule, I think they'll win enough games to hold off the Bears and the Packers. Um, and I don't think the Bears will be sweeping them this year. So I think they'll get a couple extra division wins that they didn't get last year. Um, plus the wins outside of their division. Think they have a favorable schedule outside of their division this year. So I think Detroit can get back to the top.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm leaning on the same reason why you said, another year without Ben Johnson for Chicago, another year with Ben Johnson. I mean, Caleb Williams, he's on the Madden cover, right? He's got all the hype coming out. They've got those receivers, Rome and Dunza. They've got Luther Burden, DJ Morris out of the building. They got all their young guys. You got Colston Loveland coming back, and he's projected to be one of the top tight ends this season. I think that defense is getting better. They got some great pieces out there. The offensive line improvement. I mean, I don't know, man. I think the Bears. I think this is time that they go ahead and get them one. Why not, right? Why not? Detroit, something about them, man. I think that that shine is just wearing off a little bit, man. It's just wearing off. They've gotten to the point where it's just like, Detroit is good, but
I went out
but
on a limb with this one. It would have been easy for me to pick Bears or Packers, but it's
I
my
knew you
little
wouldn't pick the backers.
yeah, never. But it's my hot take of the
I
division
feel you.
winners.
That's feel. And also, obviously, we got the Ravens. In that division, I know Nell's not too high on Pittsburgh. Um, Genuinely, I don't see Joe Burrow being healthy long enough. And even if he is, that defense over there is still so right? I'm trusting Lamar, new coach, right? New coordinators, new weapons on offense, new weapons on defense. Trey Henderson, I talked about how big he's going to be. Lamar has talked about how big he's going to be for them. So I think, unanimously, obviously, you see the Ravens here. Looking at the South, I'm surprised. I didn't think he was going to go Houston. I know we talked a little bit about Jacksonville, and what they did last season. I had them on my list of teams that I didn't think would get back to the playoffs. I think what did it for me with Houston was what I was listening to that video the other day when they were talking about Will Anderson and how he's gotten to that point where he realizes that he can wreck a game at any point. That Houston defense is insane, and I just think in that division, they can win it with just that, right? They can win it with just that. Think about the NFC South. I'm surprised you picked my Bucks, but I know you be doing a little sneaking on the side.
I
So
mean,
I can
really,
never.
it was hard to find a team willing to win, worthy enough to win that division.
I
But
can take it with a grain of salt. But let me tell you this about my Bucks, man, because you made a little joke earlier and I didn't like it.
I'm sorry.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. If Todd Bowles gets what I think he's gonna get out of Ruben Bain, Yaya Diaby, David
Vita
Walker,
Vea.
that's a name for y'all to know. In that pass rush, that'll change the game for the Bucks. The Bucks do not. I don't know. They're like me on college football and Madden. I'll cover you, but I can't get no sacks. For some reason, I just don't get sacks. I don't get pressure on the quarterback. It puts a lot of pressure on me as a player to guard the field, right? Like it's hard to do. But if you got a guy, I mean, coming off of our joint practice with the Jets in one day, 3 sacks for Ruben Bain. If I get that, if Todd Bowles gets that, I'm not worried about the offense. Hungry Baker is good. Some of the throws I've been seeing him make, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think 11-12 sounds good. 11-12 wins sounds real good for my Bucks this year. Real sneaky. Real sneaky. Real sneaky. You got anything to say about the South?
When we talked about Jacksonville, I think last year was a little bit of fool's gold. They had the I think eight game win streak to end the season, something like that. I think they were up there in the league. I don't know if they were number one or certainly somewhere in the top 5 and turnovers and turning turnovers and into points. So I think in the NFL year to year, a lot of times some of that stuff, you can still have a solid defense, but maybe not have the nose for the football and get a bunch of turnovers that you did the year before. Games flip, the games that you won by 3 or 4, they flip around and now you losing that extra game or 2 by 3 or 4. Talked about CJ Stroud, this being a huge year for him. They did not give him a contract extension. So I expect him to come out and possibly have the best year of his career, or else it's going to be a lot of question marks at the end of the year. We talked about this as a Super Bowl caliber defense, right there. You can argue it's the best defense in the league. They can go against anybody. They can, contain any offense in the league. So I think, especially playing in that division, I think this is all the makings for a bounce back year for them and CJ, and think they can win the division this year.
Yeah. It'd be cool, man. Looking out east, man. We both got Buffalo. We both got Philly. I'm assuming we
I
both,
was surprised to see you with Buffalo.
I'm a realist. I'm not
Okay.
super high on the Pats. I mean, I think they'll be a good team. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think Drake May's pretty solid. AJ Brown will be a nice weapon for him if he can let it not be about him, right? I think we've already seen some clips out of there. He got Christian Gonzalez over here getting mad and wanting to fight him, which is You ain't never heard a peep out of Christian Gonzalez having no issues with nobody since he been in the NFL. You put this man on his team, and they they over here getting into it already every day. Like, hey, good on good,
Iron
but I
sharpens
mean,
iron.
yeah, but eventually it gets to a point. It gets to a point, and I think Buffalo will be. I think they'll be. They have no choice. They have no choice. Josh Allen has no choice. Um, he has been the unanimous number one quarterback ranked across the league all offseason. Do I feel the same? I don't know yet. But you add DJ Moore. I love James Cook. New blood in town on the coaching staff. Why not? In the NFC, I really wanted to pick your Cowboys. I want to believe in the greatest offense there is. I really do want to believe in it.
Stop
I
saying that.
really do. That's all I got. I love it. Gotti.
That right there made me put the Eagles in as division winners.
Gotti. That the clips coming out of the joint practice with the Rams. You see George Pickens kicking over the pylon. The energy's there, right? Why they getting with people? But I know, because I know you, and I have other friends that are Cowboys fans, and I talk to them, and they all say the same things. So I'm gonna take heed to that advice. We talked highly about the Eagles. I think they're a top 3 team in the NFC. I think they're a top 5 team in the NFL. I think they win the East. I don't see why that doesn't happen. Out West, though, is where things get a little interesting. You got Denver. I got the Chargers. We ain't gonna talk about the Rams. Rams is cool. That's unanimous. Whatever. They should. Unless Puka gets suspended for biting people and being nonsensical, I don't see a reason why they don't win this division. It'll be a great division, of course. Very competitive at the top. But in the AFC, why am I feeling the Chargers? Something about the Chiefs just stink. It's like a stench. I just think kind of similar to with Detroit. The shine wears off, right? And that might be good for them, right? The Chiefs might need a year out of the limelight, right? Little fly under the radar year, that's cool.
I'm just concerned about Patrick Mahomes, or I might have picked the Chiefs. He's
fine.
healthy, ready to go.
That's what we don't know. They say he might be, but you never know. Was it a leg injury, right? It was or Achilles? Or Achilles?
I forgot what
it was
Achilles
or
injury
ACL. It was something. But like that's tough, man. That's tough. And I'm just not super high on Denver, man. I told you I don't like Sean Payton. That's not my favorite guy. Bo Nix is okay. I think J.K. Dobbins is already hurt again. Not super sold.
They got Harvey and
nah.
Yeah, he's solid, yo.
Nah. You got the Chargers.
Defense is still elite.
That's fine. Chargers get another year under Jim Harbaugh. You bring in Crazy Mike to construct the offense.
For Mahomes, it was ACL and LCL.
Yeah, so I mean that's a whole knee reconstruction. That'll change the game for you. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Something about Justin Herbert is one of them put up or shut up years for me with him, man. I think they're close.
I think he's gonna shut up.
No, I think they're close. I think if Mike McDaniel can create some magic, I like him. I like him to narrowly get up out of this thing. Why not?
I think the addition of Jalen Waddle, Denver's defense is still think they're top 5 in the league. What kind of
receiver is Waddle though? Like that's what I don't know. Like he's really he's good.
They won what 13, 12 games last year with.
That was a shock.
You got him
Nobody
and Sutton.
Expected that. We didn't expect that.
It wasn't that much of a shock. I mean, it was a shock, but it's not like they were a trash team the year before, and they just.
Bo
it's not
like
the Patriots where they went
injury.
Where they went from. It's not like the Patriots where they went from worst to first.
I would have to see it, man. I had to see it. It'll be fun. I mean, look, I'm glad we didn't all have the same picks. That's good. We usually end up, close to a little mirror, but hey, as long as that NFC South got Tampa Bay at the top, I really don't give a damn.
I
I
thought
had to
about
call it.
putting Carolina to troll you.
I know you
Maybe
did. I know you
Atlanta.
did. I know you did.
If Kirk
You believe in
Cousins was still
Tua?
in Atlanta, I would definitely take Atlanta.
You believe in Tua?
Nah.
I mean, hey, I'm not gonna lie. I think the second best team in the NFC South is gonna be the Saints this year.
Everyone's high on the Saints. We shall
Yeah, a lot of
see.
people, they high on them. So we'll see, folks. I mean, these are just our division winners right now, right? Preseason ain't even really started yet. Week one of the preseason for most teams starts this week, so we'll see a little bit more. Teams have been getting beat up with injuries already across the NFL, so let's hope and pray for a healthy
Survival of the
preseason
fittest in
to
the
finish it
NFL.
out, man. But Nell said it, man. Sometimes to win a championship, not sometimes. In order to win a championship, you need a little bit of luck. And so some teams have already been hit with the injury bug, losing guys. The Falcons, one of them. I think the Saints lost some guys. The Panthers lost some guys. A lot of little things going around the NFL right now. So we'll see, folks. But that's going to do it for this episode of 2 for 2. We appreciate each and every one of y'all, man. Season 5, episode number 6. You know where to find that 2 for 2 pod on all platforms, all social media, all streaming services at 2 for 2 pod. Get on the YouTube. We're getting real interactive with the thing. So you can't see that if you just watch, if you just listen on the ride to work. Listen on the ride to work. But when you get to work, put the YouTube on in the background. You ain't doing nothing anyway. You know what I'm saying? You keep showing us love. We're going to do this anyway, but we appreciate the love from each and every one of you guys, man. With that, Keith Chanel 2 for 2 pod. You know what we doing. We out of here.